Whether you're virtual or doing it in person, here's my things that I think work. And once again, these might be a bit controversial. I'm not a fan of presenter view at all. And don't get me wrong, I know that I'm in the minority when I say that, because people love presenter view because there's what's being projected out to the world and there's the next slide. So it tells you as a presenter what's coming next, and you have some notes as well. The reason I'm not a fan of presenter view, especially when you're in the virtual world, is for this reason. I'll be talking about what's on this slide, and then I do this. And I'm now looking at what's going to come up on the next slide and what content I want to be talking about. And you're like, hello, we're over here. Whether that's face-to-face or virtually doesn't really matter. I'm disconnecting from the audience. I'm reframing my conversation to myself. I'm not a fan of that. What is the benefit of having the presenter view? Is there's notes on there, which I'm meant to know. My job as the speaker was to know what I'm meant to talk about. My job as a speaker is to know what's on the next slide. That's why the audience has come along, because I'm meant to know the content. I'm meant to be the expert, not in the topic, but the content, the slides themselves. For the same reason I say don't use the notes page. Anything that's on the notes page the audience doesn't see, you can save that for the handouts. And once again, it's disconnecting you from the audience. And I think it's really an admission of, well, I don't know the content well enough. This is maybe a bit brutal to say that we shouldn't use these tools, because to use them is an admission of we didn't prep well enough. But as I said, it's about being an expert on your content. If you don't know what the next slide is, then for me, that doesn't mean you should be using presenter view. It means you should be doing more visualization, more practice runs. Just sit there flipping through the slides over and over and over, such that you always know what slide is coming next. Along similar lines in terms of prep, the demo. Demos are awesome when they work. We are generally, whenever we're doing a demo, we are showcasing technology. And no matter how much you try work your way around it, if your demo looks amateurish, it paints technology as amateurish. And obviously that's a place we don't want to be going. I'm always a fan of have your demo absolutely nailed to the absolute extent that you can, which means being able to run it over and over and over and over again before you do your presentation. Now, don't get me wrong, in these worlds of cloud nowadays, that is not always 100% guaranteed, because the days of being able to run something exclusively on the machine you're on, so you are in total control, is harder nowadays. Often we're at the whim of the Wi-Fi, the connectivity, what region we're in, etc. So you do need to have alternatives. Sometimes it's a screenshot, sometimes it's a video, but importantly is if the demo doesn't go right, please be happy to move on. That's key. It's so easy to see a little tiny problem in your demo and you go, I'll just fix this. Once again, you disconnect from the audience. And if you can't fix it in 30 seconds, literally, it's that 15 to 20 seconds of death. You've lost them. If you can fix it in the time it would take for them to send a tweet, then that's okay. If it's longer, you really have to move on. Don't get down that rabbit hole of doing code debugging on the fly. The only exception to that is if you're doing a code debugging session. Now, in terms of dealing with disasters, the easiest way, in my view, is to laugh it off and make it a story for your next time you give the talk. I can give you a real example. I gave a talk in India and some of the projector quality in India is not so good. So this was the original slide. When we projected it to the audience before the session started, it looked like this. The projector only displayed red. And for a template, which was predominantly white and gray, that's a problem. One of the organizers, a guy named Hari, he's part of the AIUG, lovely guy, runs over, he says, look, so don't worry about it. He said, I'll fix up all the slides, you introduce yourself. And I said, well, that's great. That's fantastic. I've got 344 of them. Can you? And he just went, good luck, you're on your own, and just walked off. We got through it. In the end, I basically just sat on the stage and we got everyone in close and we just talked about technology. We actually had no slides. Yeah, it was a little bit stressful at the time, but we got through it and it's become a story that I now tell in other talks. But be happy to laugh off disasters and frame them as a story and be happy to react to them accordingly. That expertise in your content will solve everything, because what it means is if my demo doesn't work, if I know the content really well, I know exactly how many slides, for example, I might need to jump forward to pick up from that demo coming to its logical conclusion. I might have made some points that are relevant to the demo. I can skip them. I can look at things like, oh, am I running to time? I don't have to sit there and go, oh, let's speed up, let's speed up. I can know that I can maybe jump a section or skip a section because I'm running out of time. Or if my demo crashes spectacularly, I know how to recover in terms of where do I go to in the content. Going through that content over and over and over and over again makes you that much more comfortable from recovering from unexpected circumstances.